The Community Environmental Protection Alliance, CEPA, is an organisation founded by families and communities affected by industrial wind turbine developments in Ireland. Our mission is to safeguard natural resources, promote sustainable practices, raise awareness about environmental issues, advocate for environmental regulation policies, and nurture collaboration among community members. At the heart of our mission is the protection of public health, well-being, and the environment. Please visit our website for more information and help us by signing our petition for wind regulations. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, everyone. We are here this evening welcoming KK and Matt to our third episode of Cepa Talks. And please stay tuned with us tonight that we're going to be talking about very important topics. So welcome, KK. Please, could you introduce yourself? And we're going to talk with Matt in a minute as well.
Okay.
Welcome.
My name is KK Kenny. I'm from Ferbane in County Offaly, and I'm involved with a group called the Lemanaghan Protection and Conservation Group, right? Well, we were trying to protect one of the richest archaeological wetlands in Europe, in Lemanaghan, Ballycumber. To date, there has been 62 artifacts found on the bog. Is it on the screen?
Yeah, I can share it in the map here.
It's on, you can see it there on screen. This is the bog here. And Bord na Móna are proposing to put up 17 wind turbines 220 meters high on this bog. We as a group are trying to protect the bog. To date, as I said, there are 62 artifacts found on it, including a bog body, and they are being held at the National Museum. It's very much a residential area. There are 500 houses within 3 kilometers of the proposed turbines, and there's 326 houses within 2 kilometers of the turbines. The closest one to the turbines is actually 800 meters. So really what I want to know, I want to find out what health effects these turbines may have on the residents in this area, especially very much infrasound. So that's really what the questions I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And when this development started?
It's in pre-planning at the moment.
Okay.
It was proposed about 3 years ago, and when it was proposed, we put in 2,300 submissions objecting to it.
Jeez.
Our local council still went ahead with it, and the Bord na Móna they didn't communicate with us at all. They didn't meet us as a group at any stage, and they had pre-planning before we had one group meeting, right? So we're very concerned about it. It has a huge influence on our lives if it goes ahead.
Matt, please, can you introduce yourself for us and the audience, please?
Yeah, my name is Matt McElroy. My company is EMF Inspections Munster. I started this company around 2021. I think it was around May 2021, and basically, so my qualification, I'm a civil engineer by trade and a quantity surveyor also by trade, but I was drawn to electromagnetics because I developed a bit of EHS around 2017, 2018. I worked in as a trader in finance for a few years. When I say a few years, probably about seven years. And basically, it affected me. It affected my sleep terribly, and to the point where I was hardly getting an hour's sleep a night for quite a few years, maybe 2 hours maximum. And anyways, to become an electromagnetic specialist, the only place that I could get a qualification was a place called the Building Biology Institute in Germany, but they're also based in South Carolina in the States. And the one that appealed to me was the one in South Carolina in the States. It was a very structured institute, and they operated on a very kind of very stringent code, a good depth of experience, and the consultants and the specialists that were coming out of there all gave great references to the place. A building biologist examines anything that affects the relationship between our bodies and the built environment. So this can range from ventilation to heat to moisture to lighting, or in my area, which would be electromagnetics. So that the 4 areas I'd be normally looking at would be electric fields, magnetic fields, radio frequency, which is basically electricity in the air from Wi-Fi and all the smart technology that we now have.
Yes.
And you have dirty electricity in the house, which comes from different levels of voltages operating from transformers to inverters to dimmer switches. We've an awful lot of low voltages or transformative type
device.
Electromagnetic forces, which is voltage, basically in our residences these days.
How can these wind turbines can impact people's lives? As a KK was saying, it's a lot of turbines proposed.
It is. I have been called out twice to two different sites regarding wind turbines. Called out from the residents themselves and called out from the wind turbine, facilitators, and so I'm looking at it from two different perspectives. Measured one particular house, which is about 660 meters from a batch of wind turbines. There was about 6 of them there. All of them were between two. They're all the same height. I think that the height of the top tip of the blade was about 240 meters. So there was a decent how can I say, level of modulation in the air. I did the survey of that particular house and all around the house, and obviously surveyed the line which was adjacent to the house. It was about 25 meters adjacent to the house. It was a high voltage line that was supplying that was taking away the current from the turbines and the inverters. So basically, again, there was magnetic fields, directly above the line, which was buried. It was buried about, I think, it was about between 1.5 meters and 2 meters, and within 2 meters from the line, the voltage, the magnetic field had dropped off significantly, and my instrumentation basically it did not measure anything. It didn't measure any EMF that was coming from either the turbines or the supply. So EMF would cover electric fields, magnetic fields, and radio frequency, So I'd be specific, if there was one. So when I say magnetic fields, that would be a form of EMF also,
Okay.
Can you explain infrasound, Matt?
Well, so basically, just to kind of stick with the story of that first instance. So anyways, nothing popped up from an electrical perspective, an EMF perspective. So I went back to the team in the Building Biology Institute, and you have guys that are very, very well tuned into the building biology aspect of building. I posed a question to the team about 30 different consultants, and basically what came back was that's the main we'll say smoking gun when it came from wind turbines that they had experienced was infrasound. And infrasound is a level of acoustic that that operates below 16 hertz. The human ear can hear between 20 hertz and 15,000 hertz, okay, or even up to 20,000 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
And so the opposite of infrasound would be ultrasound. So ultrasound is what we use to let's say measure the. I mean, if there's a child in the womb, we've heard of ultrasound, which is very short wavelengths of sound, okay? Whereas infrasound would be very, very long wavelengths of sound. So the wavelength we'll be talking about regarding infrasound would be anything up to, let's say, between 16 to 17.5 meters long, okay? So that means it would penetrate through a concrete wall 5 meters thick or even 10 meters thick. It would still, there is no protection regarding this. So I mean, you could have earbuds in you could have a wall, as I said, 5 to 10 meters thick, and it wouldn't make any difference because you'd still feel the effects of it.
The infrasound will penetrate our organs.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Human flesh is nothing, I mean, it'll go right through, absolutely,
Yeah.
So when I was on the job that day, you're kind of looking for areas that are kind of abnormal around the place. I was asking the householder about the wildlife in the area, because I saw a couple of quad bikes in his back shed, and himself and his sons used to go around the bog in the quad bikes, and just so you have the context of what the situation was. These turbines had only been in commissioned for about a year and a half, okay? And so this man was having serious gastro issues to the point where, well, he was a healthy man in his early 40s. He straight away within the first week or two, when these turbines went up, he noticed that he was having, first of all, his sleep was being affected. Second of all, he started developing stomach issues, to the point where a year and a half later, he was getting his second operation, to the point where the consultant was saying that, these gastro effects that he was experiencing are normally only seen in men over the age of 50. So anyways, I was there that morning and I was asking him about the wildlife in the area, and he was saying since these turbines had gone up, that, I mean, going around with his sons and in his quad bikes, literally there was zero wildlife operating around the area. The birds had scattered, the rabbits had scattered, the foxes had scattered. There was nothing around the place. And this is the thing, infrasound is, I mean, animals are very sensitive to infrasound, and so they just get out of there. They just, I mean, it's too distressing for them. And so basically, from a human perspective, just to kind of give you a kind of image of what it's about, is that within our ears we have what's called a vestibular system, and our vestibular system is responsible for our balance. And so basically, we've all been in a situation when we were, let's say, maybe when we were kids, when we were on a swing, or when we kept turning and turning and turning, and we all of a sudden we lost focus. Well, basically, this vestibular system is like, did you imagine the core of a snail? It's like, the shell of a snail or a seashell, and it's kind of level with water. And basically, what you have is little kind of prickly hairs inside it, and the prickly hairs are very sensitive to how this water, or this fluid, this vestibular fluid, moves about. And if all of a sudden it gets turned on its side too quickly, this is when dizziness happens. This is when vertigo happens. This is when we lose our balance. And so basically, this vestibular system is connected directly to our nervous system. When I say nervous system, I mean our autonomic nervous system, which is responsible basically for 90 to 95% of our bodily functions, including our digestive system, our pulmonary system. I mean, of the 500 to 1,000 different systems in the body, this autonomic nervous system is the main one. Yeah. So basically, this autonomic nervous system is split between what's called sympathetic and parasympathetic. And the sympathetic is very much, it's a kind of fight, flight, freeze side of our physiology, and the parasympathetic is relax, reproduce, and digest. So it's the opposite. So if the vestibular system is stimulated too much, if it is stimulated, depending on the levels of stimulation, it activates the sympathetic side of the nervous system, of the autonomic nervous system, which in turn concentrates on releasing the hormone cortisol. So basically, even while we're sleeping at night, or while we're trying to sleep, and you have these wind turbines threshing the air constantly, creating a modulation, a modulated effect in the air. So it's like how can I say this? It's basically like it's trashing the air, but it's not doing it on a consistent basis, because the wind is changing, the threshing of the air is changing by the turbines, and so basically our vestibular system are being stimulated all the time by these turbines. If you're concentrated within an area of, from what my specialists or my colleagues have been saying, anything under 2 kilometers, and it could be even further if the turbines are in a mountain range. So, but the thing about it is too, I noticed that when I was at that time in that bog, I noticed that when these turbines were on, you could actually feel something in the ground. You could actually feel some level of disturbance underneath you, because of, and I'm just putting down to the medium of bog. I mean, even though I was standing in a house that obviously had good sturdy foundations, when you stand outside, there's some level of, how can I say this, discomfort, or I mean, it's very, very slight vibration, KK, when you're standing outside.
Yeah, okay. Wow. So, okay, can you explain, Matt, just how this infrasound is created?
It's like this infrasound. It's basically because these turbines are spinning at such a low RPM that, from what I can gather, it's like you're not getting, okay, let's say you have a fan on, okay, and you have a fan on, and basically it's getting a direct amount of voltage, a constant amount of voltage all the time, and so you've a constant amount of air that's coming from that fan, and it's a constant, let's say, draw of air that's coming through the fan. But what you have with wind turbines is you don't have that constant effect. As the propellers move, the air around it it's constantly modulating as the wind changes. Okay, and then you have the effects of not only one but maybe 6 other turbines around it then too, and you can hear them. But you can also there's the kind of sensory aspect from it too. There's another sense of there's an alert type of sense that you get from it, like.
But what sorry, just when you're what I was wondering, Matt, is how it's created and how it's propagated out, or how it's propagated out to the ground.
How do you mean propagate out through the ground?
If it can be felt 2 kilometers away, is it? The impression I had of it now was that it was created when the blade passes the pillar. There's compression of air, and it was creating a vibration down through the pillar, and it was propagated out through the ground. This is the impression I had of it.
You're right in one sense, from the point of view of is that like acoustic energy needs a medium to travel. When I say it needs a medium to travel, it needs air, it needs water, or it needs some type of a medium to travel. Whereas more or less anything else on the electromagnetic spectrum, let's say the visible part of the electromagnetic spectrum, none of the electromagnetic spectrum needs a medium, as in it can travel through a vacuum. So, you're right in what you're saying from the point of view of the medium could be through the ground, but from what I'm reading, and most of the evidence is suggesting that the medium is through the air. Okay, so so it's the threshing of the air. It's the threshing of the air on an unconstant basis that is creating this stimulation in the vestibular system in the ear,
Okay.
So this is it's.
So what the companies say, sometimes the wind turbine company says in their assessment that they can mitigate this kind of thing, or they are not infrasound is not even counted, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's like, from what I'm hearing from the guys that I've been working with, it's no, they operate on what's called dBA, or decibel acoustic, and decibel acoustic is not sensitive to frequencies below 20 hertz, because this operates. The decibel acoustic operates on the premise that if you can't hear it, it's not affecting you.
I was going to ask also if there is any article or any studies about infrasound that prove that infrasound can cause damage to the human body and the wildlife in those areas where the turbines are operating less than 2 kilometers from houses.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds, Arno. I'll just look through my notes here. Okay, I have something here.
I heard about Dr. Mariana. She's a Portuguese doctor. So that was one of the research we came across.
Now, just to add to that as well, Matt, we would have testimonials, and maybe you saw them yourself, of people who were telling the same story as those people you were talking to, right? And in some cases had to leave their houses. We one gentleman down in Cork. His house is only 5 or 6 years old, and he wasn't able to live in it. He had to move out. And we come across a number of them. So it is a big factor, right? But for ourselves, we need to be able to measure or monitor it to make a case of it.
But this is it, KK. I mean, what you do. I mean, my experience from masts and putting up pylons and masts around the place, and for some reason, for the last 4 or 5 years, they're able to get planning very, very quickly and get these things up very, very quickly, even quicker than they used to in previous years. So time is of the essence, is all I can say. And when you're, as far as building a case is concerned, it's literally down to the concerned residents themselves, because there's no government agencies, from what I can see, from my own experience, going to help you out. I heard there was a case down in Wexford. There was success there recently, wasn't there?
That's right. Yeah, I think Judge Egan, was a person involved, and it was declared that they were a nuisance. Now the case is still ongoing, but it's very much a plus in our favour, the fact that the judgment went the way it did, that it was considered a nuisance living within a certain distance of now I'm not quite sure if they delved into infrasound, but
I think they did. Yeah. I think infrasound was their main takeaway. I think infrasound was their main, was modulated. The modulation that comes from infrasound, from what I heard, was their main focal point of their defence. You know, you want to get your case together quickly, more than before they can get in there, like, you know, because they don't care. They literally don't care, like, you know. I mean, they know this stuff is affecting. It does affect the human physiology, and but it's like, it doesn't matter. Big industry has a lot bigger hold, and
Yeah.
they're pretty determined.
Yeah.
I just would like to tell to our audience about the gathering we are doing at the Dáil to ask for wind turbines regulations because of the situations that are happening. So we urgently need some action from the government to stop the suffering from these families. So this why we are gathering at the Dáil Tuesday, 21st of May at 1 p.m. So if you know anybody in your community that would like to join us, we have a lot of people involved in this on this objective. Hope to see you there, and we hope with this podcast bring uh, more information to people. This is why we are doing this, and I would like to thanks Matt and KK for being here tonight. So also we have our website that you can access, and I'm gonna put here now for you guys. Cepa.ai. You can access our website, and we have testimonials, we have other podcasts there, we have all the regulations, everything is there. So please share with your family and friends. The more people know about this, the more we can make a change, because it needs to change now. We can't wait anymore. I'm going to show you guys testimonial from people that live beside wind turbines. I'm going to run that, and then we come back to our chat, okay?
Okay.
It's a tragedy that the area, Cape Bridgewater, has been inundated with 29 turbines of 110 meters height. The closest one to our house is 600 meters away, and slowly over that period of time, although it didn't take that long for us to begin to realize that they were going to have an effect on us. Initially, it was a visual effect as you approached the house. They were quite threatening, and I would begin to feel, as I approached the top of the road to approach my house, I would kick into a mood of, I'm going to see them in a minute, I'm going to see them in a minute. So I was in a state of not restful state. I couldn't enjoy my home because I knew that I was approaching this barrage of 29 turbines. But then more serious things started to occur, almost like a pulsing thing. And when I came in the back door, the first thing that I noticed was walking in the back door of the house from the laundry area. Once in a while, I would just get like a thump in my sternum, as if somebody had punched my chest. And at first, I thought, what was that? And I thought, oh, the wind's getting up or something. But then I realized it was occurring, and then started to put two and two together about how it was affecting me. Then the most important thing that happened to me after that was that I would wake up consistently at the same time every morning, about 4:30, and I would wake up with a start and immediately have an acidic sort of sensation to being woken up suddenly. And my mind would start racing. I now think that is a form of a panic attack, and it happens every morning. It's very stressful. It's very stressful. And of course, it all retaliates on the quality of the sleep that I'm obviously not having, deep sleep. There are other symptoms that have come with it, sort of massive amount of urination, perpetual urination, I would say about 10, 12 times a day, because I've kept a diary on it. But over and above all this is the anxiety that your home is worthless and you're going to have to move on, and a dream is shattered because it was a place for me to retire and to do my creative pursuits. That's all gone out the window. And then you start to be a little less selfish, and you start to look around you and you notice the effects on people and acquaintances that you've met. And then people who a year or so ago were saying, well, they don't bother me. Just this week, I've had 2 different women tell me that she is on blood pressure tablets now. And another one say to me that just 2 or 3 nights ago, she had her first night where she realized that they're keeping her awake at night, that her quality of sleep. And they were quite insistent that they were having no effects from the turbine. So that's another 2 people. So generally speaking, from a personal point of view, it can't go on. We'll have to pack up and leave. And just how I will get through the anxiety of leaving the house to dereliction, I can't imagine. One is tempted to just put it off and hang on to the situation, but I can't. I just can't do it because I feel my energy sinking fast, and my son is affected as well. As the layers of the onion are peeled back, and it's available to the public to read the various findings of what's going on behind the industry and what's going on from a political point of view, from the point of view of the superannuations funds and the skullduggery that goes on has gone on in the past in Europe. Once you start inquiring into this, let alone the health problems and the destitution of families who have to leave their farms, there's only one word for it. It sounds cruelly ironic for me to say it, but it is like a fast because it's so obviously wrong. And why on earth can't it be fixed? It's a shocking problem. It's so obvious what the remedy is. We just have to be very strong and fight to secure that remedy. We all have to join together and stand up and be counted. I have to say that I feel very anxious and quite cross with community people sometimes when they won't stand up and be counted, because I still believe that there's a process which we could follow, which could ease the situation. But now I feel that the situation has to be eradicated, not eased. That eradication is the answer, that easing the problem is simply adding to the farcical nature of it all, the cruelly farcical nature of it all. It just has to stop.
Okay.
So yes, that was the testimonial from Cape Bridge. You can find all these testimonials at National Wind Watch, and also I'm going to share the link for our petition as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of people suffering from this problem. And KK, would you like to comment on that?
I would, yeah. When I was listening to Matt there, right, and talking, he's talking about the residents that he visited, and that when he went down onto the bog, that the wildlife was gone, right, which is the case, right. Yeah. We have a government with green membership promoting that idea. Now, Ireland has had one of the worst records of biodiversity in Europe. And yet we have people who call themselves green, prepared to turn the bog that we have here, as shown on the map, is a beautiful natural place for wildlife, right? And it's dried out at the moment because Port Namona harvested peat on it, right, and left it. Now, but when peat is dried out, it emits carbon. But if it's re-wetted, it's a great carbon sink, right? And even despite the fact that we've got a very, very bad biodiversity record, we have people who call themselves green in power, and they're doing away with natural habitats for wildlife, as Matt has explained, right? Very, very hard to understand. And this lady, like a lot of people, we testimonials ourselves on cepa.ie, where
Yes.
people had to leave their homes, right? It's crazy. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yes, and it is a daily conversation between my husband and I as well, my family,
Yeah.
because we are in the process. Our county council in Roscommon approved a wind turbine development,
Yeah.
600 meters from all the houses here, and in a karst landscape that doesn't make sense with all the wildlife here in Roscommon, 6 kilometers from Lago Funchal that flooded this year, a big catastrophe. It's impossible. We cannot do this anymore. We cannot allow this to happen. We need to talk with our governments and really ask for answers and for actions right now. So thanks, KK, for bringing out the questions. If you have any other questions, and Matt as well, to make a comment on that so we can finish our podcast tonight.
Just to get back there on the literature there. So I don't know if you heard of Nina Pierpoint. She wrote she's the author of Wind Turbine Syndrome. Have you heard of this book?
No.
Yeah, no. This is one that I was referred to. So it's, her name is Nina Pierpoint, Pierpont. Pierpont. Sorry. She's a MD and a PhD is a pediatrician and the author of Wind Turbine Syndrome. She has, I mean, hundreds of testimonials in her book there too. All of them very, very identical symptoms, like, and like, I mean, all I can say, KK, I mean, especially, I mean, from like yourselves up there in Offaly, like, you know, when that video started there with that lady there in Australia that we just looked at, was it Australia?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
You know, and you look at the setting. I mean, the beautiful countryside
Yes.
that she's
Yes.
in, and it's the same with the Irish countryside too. Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, the older we get, the more kind of appreciation. Well, I have anyway for the different levels of the different kind of ecosystems we have as we go from different county to county, even in such a small country like Ireland, like, you know.
Yes.
And especially these bogs, like, I mean, the preservation orders that should be intact. All I can say is that from the point of view of getting the ball rolling with awareness within those 500 houses that you said, KK, you're going to have to. I mean, you're going to have to really get people who have been affected around the country to speak, maybe at a community meeting, or maybe getting onto Maria Alves and seeing who she can recommend, or even if she could come over and give us a talk. You know, my level of detail that I'm just giving you here today is only I'm only scratching the surface. But when people hear detail, and when people hear experts giving detail, and when people, you know, also hear testimonials of turbines in the area, and like neighbours, people in Offaly, people in Wicklow, wherever you might get these testimonials from, you know, people will then gather in numbers. And just like that lady said in Australia, she was very disappointed by the outcome or the turnout from her community, and the community members not turning up. But if they think that this could happen, that the value of their property is going to reduce massively or even go to zero.
Yes.
My God, when it hurts the pocket,
Yes.
people, when it appeal to people's unfortunate lowest levels of emotion sometimes to get them off the couch, to get them active, like, you know.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, you know, again, I'm only speaking from experience from the point of view of mass being put up in communities and houses and in yards around the country that people. But it's very similar. It's very similar to the turbines.
It is,
you know, it's like
Absolutely. Yes.
it's a different form of toxicity, but it's still toxicity. I mean, and people are they kind of like, you know, they're shell shocked from the point of view of how come our councillors and how come our government agencies not be protecting us and supporting us more. It's like action. It's all about action. It really, really is all about action. Like, you know, and if there's one thing about Irish people is, like, you know, we can put stuff together once we get our heads together and we'll form a plan, like, you know. Yeah. But as long as everybody's working off the same hymn sheet, it's very, very important. And this is why the particulars and the attention to detail is so important in getting people together. Because when you have all the evidence in front of you, and you have a bunch of Irish people there, and they know it's going to affect the value of their property, and it's going to affect their kids' health, and it's going to affect the land they love, people will they'll go beyond in providing resistance to this thing, like, you know. And it's like, we don't have, these aren't easy answers. Easy answers, but unfortunately, it's what's being presented in front of you, like, you know.
Okay. I just want to thank Matt. And
thanks, Matt.
It's absolutely brilliant to listen to someone who's been out in the field, right? We've a big fight on our hands. There's no question about that. I think the upcoming local elections, we brought out a brochure ourselves, and a number of our politicians that are coming down on our side are giving them out as part of their canvass, right? So we did this for the houses around the bog and the surrounding areas to create an awareness of the health effects, the valuation of their properties, right? And these development,
the wildlife,
wildlife, of course. The development companies are giving the impression that it's a great benefit to the community. That's not happening.
No,
that's not.
This is not working anymore. The way they talk about the community we get funding doesn't work anymore. We don't believe that anymore. No. You know.
No.
Just thanks, Matt. It's great. It's great for this, Steve. It's great.
No problem, Kik. And the best of luck. And, you know, you have my number there in EMF Inspection Munster. If you want any more, help regarding whatever, like, you know, it's just, I mean, you know what you got to do. Sit down and roll ahead, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks a million for sharing. Thanks, KK, for sharing everything.
Thank you very much.
We are just finishing our podcast. Thanks for watching, guys. And please get in touch. Our email is info@cepa.ie. Please get in touch if you need. And if you want to send us a question, or if there is any professional out there that would like to contribute, like Matt, please join us. We are going to the Dáil on the 21st of May, and we are looking forward to meet you there as well. So thanks, everyone, and we see you in the next one.
Thank you.